Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to welcome you to this latest edition of Business Africa. This week we are turning our focus to East Africa. In your economic magazine we'll explore the launch of the new Ethiopian stock exchange and the booming horticulture sector. But first, here's a sneak peek at the top stories coming your way in this edition. Ethiopian flowers are claiming a lion's share of the country's horticultural exports, a growing success that's giving global competitors a run for their money.
We grow here around 16 varieties with different colors as per customers' requirements, like Everred, Upper Class, Athena. We have around 6-7 hectares covered by red varieties because red is common variety. Then Athena is a white. Then we have different types of pink colors.
Ugandan coffee farmers are aiming for the top. Their goal to break into the world's top 3 coffee exporters, and they're doing everything it takes.
As of now, our exports have really grown high. Like of last year, we were able to export about more than 6 million bags of 60 kilograms.
Enough with the coin shortage in Cameroon. The Kori app lets you receive your change directly on your phone.
Grâce à l'application Kori,
thanks to the Kori app, you can collect change digitally rather than physically. Your money is given back to you on the application in a small digital wallet, and you can use this change in any of the shops that gave it to you.
qui vous l'a déboursé.
Over the last 20 years, Ethiopia's horticulture sector has evolved into a true success story, now standing as the country's second largest source of export earnings after coffee. What's driving this industry's growth, and how does Ethiopia deal with fierce international competition? To find out, our correspondent in Addis Ababa, Tefera Gadamu, took us straight to the fields and greenhouses.
This includes crops like mint, rosemary, coriander, parsley, thyme, and so on. We have about 22 crops that we are growing here, herbs. We have got selected vegetables like cherry tomato, sweet pepper, cucumber, different types of lettuce, beef tomato, which is tomato for burgers.
We grow here around 16 varieties with different colors as per customers' requirements, like Everred, Upper Class, Athena. We have around 6-7 hectares covered by red varieties because red is a common variety. Then Athena is a white. Then we have different types of pink colors.
These are 2 of the 130 growers that are engaged in the production and export of horticultural products. While a few are Ethiopian or joint venture investments, the majority happen to be Dutch companies, followed by Israeli and Indian growers. Organized in 8 clusters, a good number of them are concentrated in the Great Ethiopian Rift Valley, where Share Ethiopia, a Dutch company, and the largest rose grower in the world, is also located. Some are around the capital Addis Ababa, and 5 others near Tana, the largest lake in the northern part of the country. The growers are availing a significant package to the market.
Almost every day we harvest, in average, about 80,000 stems. The volume of export is about 22 million stems per year.
The herbs and vegetables total, we are sending about 30 tons a week. And flower, we are sending about 100,000 to 150,000 stems every week.
And in any given year,
if you look at the data, nearly 300,000 tons of horticultural products are exported.
In the beginning, with the focus on just a few countries in Europe, mostly associated with the home base of the growers, the export destinations were very limited.
It was really very difficult. Even the market, the destination is only Holland.
But in 20 years, much has changed significantly.
We have got whole buyers, so we are preparing products for supermarkets in Tesco, Sainsbury. These are bigger supermarkets in Europe.
If we start from the northern hemisphere, it's going to Canada and US. If you look at Europe, it's going everywhere, be it Scandinavian, West Europe, East Europe, all the flowers, the herbs are destined there. Again, if you look at Far East, it's going as far as South Korea and Japan. It's also shipped to Middle East countries as well.
50% we send to Middle East. The freight cost is low because it's near to Ethiopia.
And we are also sending them to the continent, to Nigeria.
With a steadily expanding market, the revenue base is also growing. Here are cases in point.
We are a big company, like bringing about 12 to 15,000 million euro to this country from herbs, vegetables, and flowers in general.
If we have the good year, maybe around $4 or $5 million we can get a year.
The total export value for last year fiscal year was about 661 million US dollar, out of which 93 million was generated from the export of fruits, vegetables, services, and seeds as well. And the lion's share was generated from the export of flowers, which is about 558 million.
That may not look like a big figure. Last year, neighboring Kenya's horticulture exports reportedly generated nearly 1.1 billion US dollars. And part of it has got to do with the cost of inputs that are largely imported. Here is an example.
In order to raise a very good quality basil that can be sold in the European market, it will take about $1.50. Majority of the cost comes later on from the packaging and from the logistics, which is about $3 more. So all in all, like $4.5 per kg crop like basil. So this is being sold with all the additional expenses that we are having, about $7 to $8, with profit margin of 15 to 20%.
But the growers agree that the inflated costs are compensated by the reasonable freight rate of Ethiopian Airlines, which flies to over 100 destinations around the world.
We have Ethiopian Airlines, which is extending its service with reasonable air freight rates. This is also a comparative advantage. As we speak now, Ethiopia is cheaper by $1 per kilogram for air freight to Europe. Every day, a minimum of 2 freighters, 777 freighters are shipping Ethiopian horticulture products. And in the belly of passenger aircrafts, you find Ethiopian horticulture products as well.
And today, in the flower supply chain, Ethiopia is among the top 5 global players and the second largest in Africa. From over 2 million hectares, coffee is generating $1 billion US dollars for the country. But according to industry observers, by just doubling the current production area of nearly 1,800 hectares, the horticulture sector that has generated 200,000 jobs can easily overtake coffee as the leading foreign exchange earner.
And we remain in Ethiopia, where the Ethiopian Stock Exchange is officially up and running this month. This is a major milestone for the country, which is looking to attract investment as it continues recovering from a recent civil war. While Ethiopia had a functioning stock exchange for 14 years in the 70s, today the country struggles to bring in foreign investment. To overcome this hurdle, the government has opened up the banking sector to foreign players and approved international investments in key areas like coffee, oilseed exports, transportation, logistics, and retail. The new exchange aims to list up to 50 companies over the next 5 years. Meanwhile, in Kenya, the national carrier Kenya Airways resumed trading after 5 years of suspension. The airline, 48.9% owned by the government, has gone through an extensive restructuring process. However, following impressive recent performance, including a post-tax profit, the suspension was lifted. The stock soared 10%, hitting its highest level in 7 years. Kenya Airways plans to raise up to $1.5 billion in fresh capital to drive its growth. Uganda is experiencing a coffee export boom like never before. As Africa's largest coffee exporter, the country is benefiting from the dire economic situation faced by its international competitors. Last year, a drought in high-altitude areas of Brazil and Vietnam devastated their coffee crops, resulting in a surge in demand for Ugandan coffee. The coffee sector supports about 5 million people in Uganda, and farmers are aiming to break into the top 3 coffee exporters globally. Our reporter Alexandra Vepierre traveled to Kisoro in the southwest to see how the government is working with farmers to improve the quality and yields of Arabica coffee. Watch this. At Kisoro Volcanic Organic Coffee, coffee is a family business. For 28 years, the family farm has been producing Arabica coffee, a variety that only grows above an altitude of 1,300 meters. A pioneer in his early days, Peter Halira is now an influential community member, advising other farmers on the best methods for producing good coffee. His family also organizes guided tours for tourists to show how coffee is made from the tree to the cup.
So these are green bean on the trees, but when you harvest, you make sure you pick selective picking method, picking only the ripe beans.
Once the fruit is harvested manually, the pulp is separated from the kernels using a pulping machine. The beans are then washed and left to dry for 2 weeks. The farmers then pluck and sieve the beans before hand roasting them too. All that's left to do is grind the coffee and enjoy it. From the start, the family was supported by UCDA, the Uganda Coffee Development Authority. The government agency was founded in 1992 to promote, supervise and regulate coffee and coffee quality. In each district, agents visit producers to train them and help them increase their yields.
So we help small farmers, first of all, with training them. We are also helping our farmers by giving them inputs. We give inputs, we supply coffee seedlings to farmers who want to put more fields. We give them fungicides to manage their diseases. We also give them fertilizer so that we encourage them to always improve their soil fertility.
The agency also provides equipment where necessary and carries out soil analysis. At the same time, the government scientific research organization, the NARO, is trying to develop new coffee varieties, again, to improve the quality and robustness of the beans.
As of now, our exports have really grown high. Like of last year, we were able to export about more than 6 million bags of 60 kilograms. Compared to what we used to export, that was even less than 1 million. So we are moving ahead with Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
The largest customers for Ugandan coffee are Italians, Indians and Germans. The government now also wants to export value-added coffee, meaning coffee that has already been ground, rather than green beans to generate more profits.
Check the aroma.
Kisoro Volcanic Organic Coffee produces between 500 and 800 kilos of coffee annually. But this is still too little to export. The Halira family sells only on the local market to supermarkets, hotels and tourists who visit them. However, the growers in the Kisoro region have formed a collective in the hope that they will soon be able to export.
We have an association that involves many farmers around. And we're encouraging more farmers to plant because we need much produce. Because if we are few, we won't make what it takes to export. So if we are very many, at least we can be able to raise maybe a container and we can be able to export, and there we shall all be benefiting the community.
But production is becoming increasingly variable. Harvests have been very low over the last 4 years, mainly due to climate change. To compensate for this, growers have had to introduce methods to protect their trees, giving priority to intercropping, which involves growing several crops in the same field. This method also helps to preserve food security.
So usually when we plant coffee trees, we need to provide the shade with the shading crops. One banana will give shade to 4 coffee trees. Banana leaves. First of all, bananas grow faster than coffee. Then bananas can hold water during the rainy season. Then it can supply coffee trees with water during the dry season. Then many avocado trees, they work as windbreakers.
At the same time, the government claims to be reducing deforestation, encouraging the use of organic products and training farmers in sustainable agriculture to ensure that coffee remains an important part of the Ugandan economy.
Are you seeking to boost your business in Africa and Europe? Increase your visibility with Business Frequency thanks to our network of national television channels in more than 40 countries. Every week, more than 100 broadcasts across Africa, the Indian Ocean and Europe. Don't miss this unique opportunity. Contact us now and put your brand into the spotlight.
Welcome back to the second half of the show. During his one-week visit to Africa, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi stopped by Namibia, the Republic of the Congo, Chad and Nigeria. Namibia, one of the world's largest uranium producers, is seeking to attract Chinese investments in its nuclear industry. Meanwhile, Chinese company Xinying Mining plans to start lithium production in the Democratic Republic of Congo early next year. Analysts believe China is formalizing its commitments made during the 2024 FOCAC summit, including a new $51 billion aid package for African nations. $2.2 billion, that's how much African startups raised in equity, debt and grants in 2024. While this represents a 24.14% drop compared to 2023, 188 companies still raised over $1 million each last year. Kenya remains the leader in these investments, securing nearly 30%, with $638 million raised, outpacing Nigeria, Egypt and South Africa. These results come amid a more challenging financial environment that has put significant pressure on Africa's startup ecosystem. A recent survey revealed that many startup founders are experiencing high levels of stress and anxiety. When will the new franc coins arrive in the 6 countries of the CEMAC, the Central African Economic and Monetary Community? Cameroon, Congo, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Central African Republic and Chad are all part of this rollout. Originally planned for the end of this year, the introduction of the new coins has been delayed due to technical issues. The new launch is now set for this year. These coins are expected to be larger and help alleviate the ongoing shortage of small change in shops. Older coins will remain in circulation. And what happens when there just aren't enough coins? The shortage of coins essential for making small purchases and receiving change has been a serious problem in several Central African economies. In countries like Cameroon, it's become increasingly difficult for businesses and customers to get the small change needed for everyday transactions. But one young Cameroonian entrepreneur saw this challenge as an opportunity. She developed the Kori app, which allows users to receive their change on their mobile phones. Our reporter Maxime Faralbunia explains more from Douala.
The divisional currency crisis continues to persist in Central Africa, particularly Cameroon, despite the massive injection of coins printed by the French central bank and the French printing house Ouverture Fiduciaire. Ultimately, this injection failed to fill the gap or replenish the money circuit, which was strongly hit by scarcity. Retailers, large-scale distributors, grocers, and other traditional users of coins remain desperate. We contacted an economist based in Douala, Cameroon, to find out why. According to Devaris Gunju, the demographic explosion is one of the leading causes of the shortage.
In reality, we are moving to a population of 30 million inhabitants with a money supply for only 15 million people. This means that during this period of time, economic operators and small traders have increased too, while the money supply has not increased as significantly. This is one of the main reasons.
The second is the network set up over the last few years to absorb coins and manufacture high-value objects.
C'est avéré qu'il y a eu des réseaux qui se sont mis en
It turned out that there were networks in place, notably Asian Chinese ones. To take part, some Cameroonians are said to have set up gaming rooms to recover coins for trafficking in China. You know, a 25 franc coin transformed into jewelry will no longer sell for the same price, but for tens of thousands of CFA francs. When the Chinese discovered this in Central Africa, particularly Cameroon, they thought it was a windfall. When you apprehend them, for example, with 100 million of small coins transformed into silver ingots, it's then practically worth billions.
These illegal activities are not without consequences for the economic players of the Central African sub-region.
Our economy on the African continent, particularly in the African sub-region, well, a large part of it is strictly informal. If you want to buy something and you are short 10 francs to pay it back in a CEMAC zone with 60 million people, well, if there are 13 million people who miss a transaction of 10 francs, that's at least 90 billion CFA francs lost per month. Per year, that's more than 1,080 billion for 10 francs alone. And if you take 100 francs, more than 100,000 billion in lost turnover. The solution to remedy this is to create a digital currency.
This is exactly what a Cameroonian entrepreneur has created with her application known as Kori. Founded in 2022 by Magali Go Sanga, the Kori app enables users to create digital loyalty cards on which the startup's partner merchants can pay cash back and any outstanding payment.
It is quite simple. Thanks to the Kori app, you can collect change digitally rather than physically. Your money is given back to you on the application in a small digital wallet, and you can use this change in any of the shops that gave it to you.
Pour tous les achats que vous faites dans les magasins qui sont partenaires à Kori,
for every purchase you make in Kori's partner shops, regardless of the method you use to make the payment, you will receive part of the amount you spend back on your loyalty card. This is to reward you for your loyalty, for the fact that you have come to the store rather than another. You will be reimbursed part of the amount spent. So the more you spend in a partner store, the more money you will get back that you can use to buy what you want in the same shop.
L'argent, et après, cet argent que vous avez récupéré, vous pourrez l'utiliser pour acheter ce que vous voulez dans le même magasin.
But in practical terms, how does the Kori application work when it comes to making purchases?
The change deposited in the application is first and foremost the change left at the cash desk, so there is a parallel between the change left by the customer and the change credited to your card. For example, you make a purchase of 700 francs and pay with a 1,000 francs note. The 300 francs you leave at the till are credited to your loyalty card. So you and the merchant have very clear visibility in real time of the money left at the shop because you see it on your card as soon as you leave the shop. And so, for example, you have consumers in the supermarket who do their shopping and can now buy extra packs of water, extra sugar, extra flour and extra meat. So we're helping to have a positive impact on the local and regional economy.
Kori is already very popular and fancied by users in shops and supermarkets partnering with the application.
Once in the shop, I use my trolley and pick up what I want. Then I go to the checkout. Once I'm there, I pay in cash. After the payment, they give me the ticket, which I scan, and it goes directly to my Kori account, which multiplies the cash in my account. That's how it works.
Thanks to Kori app, users have already been refunded more than 7 million CFA francs in digital currency when shopping in partner supermarkets in French-speaking Africa. Economists such as Devaris Gunju, who approve this kind of product, also suggest another solution to the coin shortage: the offer to manufacture smaller denominations of banknotes, in particular 50s and 100 francs, to discourage coin smuggling networks. And that's all for today's episode of Business Africa. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel for Initiative Africa. This time we'll be joined by Guinean entrepreneur and satellite data expert Jean Koivogi.
In the meantime, you can watch today's episode on our website, africaonair.com, and follow us on social media. Don't forget to share, like, and comment using the hashtag BusinessAfrica. Have a great week and see you next time. Goodbye.